Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up layers, line types, and save it to a template. It's very useful to have layers and different line types. What I'm showing here is a drawing I did a bunch of years ago, and just to give you an overview, going backwards, uh, here are the layers. Um, and the line types. I'll show you how to set that up and save it to a template for future use. And it's very useful if you want to toggle the visibility of any of the parts from a machine design perspective. I draw my parts in orthographic fashion, and then I assemble uh, them in in the view next to it. It's very convenient to do that, especially you may ask, why wouldn't you just 3D model it? Well, sometimes it's much quicker to do it in Autocad and 2D than go through generating models of all the subsystems and components, etc. But anyhow, I'll close this one and I'll open a plain Autocad template. It doesn't have any layers preloaded. It just comes with a 0 layer here. And I'll show you how to set up some of the layers. So basically, this icon here is for a new layer. Give it a layer name. So typically, I like to start with just general layer names that I'll be using. And again, in my case, suppose I'm doing machine design, some of the typical ones that you would encounter would be, for example, well, line type. Well, let's call layer hidden. Hit the enter key, and then it generates a layer. And then if you select a color, usually I, for example, would hidden lines, I make them blue. And the line type, you have to load when you first open a new template in AutoCAD. You have to load the line types, and then that's all you need to do to load them, unless you need to specify the file where they're located. But um, if you have AutoCAD installed just from factory install, it all you do is press the load line types, and here they are. And then I would there's different hidden lines, and I'll show you how to scale the line type for clear visibility as well later in the video. But let's just pick a standard hidden line, and so the hidden layer is set up. And then another useful layer would be, for example, center line. So I'll press this. It AutoCAD automatically copies the the new layer. Uh, Depending on what was highlighted, it will copy the attributes of the previous layer. So since I hit create new layer and I had the hidden layer highlighted, it automatically copied the color and the line type, which will change in a second. So let's call this layer center. Center lines, I'll make my center lines magenta. And the line type will hit the load button and pick a center line. As a default center line here. So now we have the default layer, the 0 layer, and then 2 layers we created so far. Another useful layer is phantom line. So we'll call layer phantom. This time I'll highlight the default layer, which has a continuous line type and it's white. And I press the new layer icon, and so let's name this one Phantom. Again, color of the Phantom line. I'll select yellow. Line type. I'll load the Phantom. Notice I'm picking all the first ones available that are scaled relative to the reference that AutoCAD uses. Um, if I wanted to select one of the other ones, I would rename the layer to Phantom 2 or X2, so it's descriptive and you know what kind of line type. So if you scale the line type, you kind of know what to expect. So let's select the Phantom line. So now I essentially have 3 layers, and you could continue this on. And advantages of layers, obviously, is, for example, I'll create one more layer called an object layer. So and I'm gonna leave the color and line type as continuous. Just hit the enter key. To select a layer that you want to be the active, what layer you want it to be the active one, so for example, right now the 0 layer has a check mark. So that's, if you start drawing, that's a layer that you're on, and you're going to be on that layer. If you want to switch layers, you select it, and then you click on this icon and you set it to current, and the check mark goes to the layer, and that's the active layer that you're on. So for example, if let's just draw something, a box of something. So draw a line, say 10 units over to the right, 10 units up. All right, so I drew a box with 10 units across on each side. And now let's draw, for example, a circle inside of it. And pick the 3-point. So let me just pick some points here. I missed it. And okay, now I'll change layers because I want to draw the center line. So I'll select the center line layer, make it active. And now suppose I just want to draw an infinite long line across the circle. So I'll draw one in the vertical direction. And now you're on this layer. Suppose I trim them back. The circle is not tangent here, but nevertheless, who cares for now? Suppose I trim these center lines, just offset those lines by say 2 units. I'll show you the difference between like center 1 and center 2 and scaling the line type as well. And then I'll trim them. And I'll delete these. And then I'll rotate these. I'll just leave it like that for now. And I'll create another layer with center 2. So show you the difference in the scaling the line types. It kind of goes together. So the center, I usually pick the one because I draw most of those drawings that I work with are small parts, mechanical parts. If I'm doing mechanical design, but if you're doing landscaping or structural work, you may want to go in the other direction. But nevertheless, before I confuse you too much, let's just create this one center 2x, and then I'll change the line type to the other line type, center 2. I'll pick the smaller one, center 2. And then to rename it, just to be consistent. And that's the current layer. I double click on it, obviously. Let's draw these same lines as I did before, but now on this layer. I'll change the color so there's a contrast. All right, so let's just draw a line. Or, let's just draw another infinite line. And go through the same process of trimming it back 2 units out. All right. So basically, what I want to show you is the 2 different center line types. Depending on how zoomed in you are, they look different. And you can also change that. There's a command line type scale, LT scale, that I use. And by default, it's 1, but you could change that to, say, if I change it to 5, you see that the scale factor for the center lines for all layers and all line types will change. So that's useful if you're zoomed in or zoomed out, and your center lines and phantom lines and hidden lines look like continuous lines, and especially if they're all drawn in white, to kind of get a better feel for what you're looking at. It's always good to know how to change the line type scale and not just LT scale. And you could scale up and scale down. You could you go to half X, I believe, or 5, and you scale down. So, and by default, you're going to return scale is just 1. Advantage of layers, again, is if you don't want a certain layer visible. For example, this magenta centerline layer, if I select it, I could turn it off. It says the current layer is turned off. That's because that was the current layer. If this was the current layer and I selected it and turned it off and on, I wouldn't have gotten that prompt. You could freeze it. So while it's so you can't move it. Basically, it's just frozen. You could change the transparency. That's useful if you import an image. You put it on a different layer. Change the transparency, and if you want to reverse engineer or trace something. Um, and for the last part, save as a template. So these layers, not your drawing, is saved for future use. You in file types, if you go to your template and then just save it as some kind of template, basic, I'll call it, and it needs the extension of DWT. You save it, okay, and now that I open another drawing, my basic template will always be in a template directory, but I never deleted the drawing, so we could resave it. But you got to save it again as a template because by default it will not save in the templates folder. So just override this guy. And that pretty much ends this video. Thanks for watching.